Well, here we are on the set of Badlands Weekly, and couldn't be a cooler day because taking the tour of Badlands is one of my good friends and rock and roll hero, and what I think the best front man in the world is sitting right here with us at the desk, Mr. Paul Stanley from KISS, of course, and welcome to Sioux Falls.
It's great. I've been coming here since I think the early 70s, and it's interesting to see how the community has changed and how it stayed the same. And you're certainly from here, so I admire anybody who grows up in a community and winds up giving back to the community, and that's pretty much your history. So kudos to you.
Thanks a lot. I know a lot of rock stars, obviously not as many as you, and by far you're the most philanthropic of anybody I've met, and you do so many great things for charities, and you were able to come and see the Brennan Rock and Roll Academy on a few different occasions and see what it's doing for the kids. What do you think about that? What do you think it helps with the development? I mean, you have young children too.
Well, music is so sadly missing in the curriculum of most schools, and people in the general population don't realize how much it benefits those kids, not only in terms of education and stimulating the brain, but keeping them off the streets. So when you have something to do other than getting into trouble, you don't get into trouble. If you find something you love doing, music is a powerful force, and to be able to have a place where you're shuttled after school and find something that you love and that's challenging and rewarding, it doesn't get better than that.
If you could give those kids one piece of advice for somebody who's actually kept it together, and we both know what we're talking about, there's so many rock superstars over the years that it's just fallen apart, and it hasn't came together, and tour after tour and show after show, and just even your demeanor and your knowledge of what's going on, it never seems to fade. What can you give a piece of advice to the kids to end up like you instead of one of the other guys?
Well, look, the reason we're here talking and you're not here talking to Jimi Hendrix or Jim Morrison or Janis Joplin or any of those people is very simple. It's chemical and substance abuse. And if you love yourself, you'll take care of yourself. And if you want a long life, you can't jeopardize that. When you numb yourself, you can't take everything in, and it clouds your judgment. Drugs, alcohol, they not only numb your senses, but ultimately what they do is they kill your spirit.
Yeah, well said. And we really try to instill that at the Academy too. It's more than a music lesson. It's, working with people who are giving a good vibe and a good message and a good path. But speaking of racetracks and race cars, we had a chance to look at the Badlands Motor Speedway yesterday. What do you think of that? I don't think you've ever been to a dirt track before. I know you've been to all the Indy tracks and NASCAR.
I've never seen a dirt track. And, once again, it's amazing to see something that is so much a part of the community that is now being revitalized. It's amazing to see something that is one of the, maybe 7 racetracks of its kind on the circuit, and that now is not only getting a facelift, but is getting an entire body lift, a whole makeover. And, it's something that the community will be proud of and will bring in more people.
Yeah, 62 years it's been around, and we can't wait to change it. We've been doing so many changes out there. You just kind of saw the tip of the iceberg yesterday while it was under construction, but we're excited to have you back out there when we get it all done for racing season next year.
I'll be there.
And I brought you to Sioux Falls thinking everything was going to be awesome and nice weather, and we kind of had the start of the apocalypse last night, and here we are at the Badlands of Guns, Gold, and Rock and Roll, and the place built around the apocalypse. But that flood last night, what about that?
I've never seen anything like that. I was trying to describe it on the phone to my wife and to other people. I expected to see the Ark go by, and see a couple of giraffes and a couple of, horses. It was unbelievable. And the fact that we got a chance to celebrate Badlands and everything that's coming up, and finally got a chance to play was incredible. I threw in the towel and figured it would never happen, but it was a lot of fun. It was a great way to kick things off. And the Badlands House Band is really world class. I was more than pleasantly surprised. When you say you're going to sit in with a band, you really don't know what you're getting into. And I found the band to be so good that I could kind of push them to be better. Whereas in some situations, you just go, what the hell? Let's just get through this. So it's great. As with everything else, it's all top shelf, which is, again, the only way to do something. If you're going to do something, if you're not going to do it right and put in the time, then what's the point in doing it?
Yeah, that was a great show. For those of you who don't know, last night we actually sat in the dark for 2 hours at the venue because of the flood, and we didn't think the show was going to go on, and all of a sudden the power came back on, and Paul and Jack actually followed I think a fire truck over and through the waters as cars were floating by to make it to the show, and the people who were there saw an incredible treat last night. That was great, and thanks for performing, of course, with the house band. Now, we're in one of our studios here. We're going to have 5 studios on the property, as I kind of walked you through it earlier. But just finally, kind of give me your take on what you think, how you think this came out, and what do you think? What do you think of Badlands Pawn Gold and Jewelry?
It really covers all bases. The idea of having weekly concerts, the idea of having a state-of-the-art pawn system where you can bring virtually anything and also find anything. And
Sure.
also the element that sometimes is missing from all these things is fun. And that's what makes this so great. If it's not fun, then maybe it's not worth doing. Then it just becomes a chore. So this is something really, really special. Sioux Falls has never seen anything like this, but the country's never seen anything like this. So in a way, it's exciting because the first one is here, and it's the template for more to come. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting to see and to be a part of.
And the concert hall, you approve? It's Paul Stanley approved?
It's Paul Stanley approved. It's as good as it gets, and it will attract all the right kind of talent because nothing's been left undone. So hats off, but for Sioux Falls, and not only Sioux Falls, but for the rest of the country, this is going to become a place to come. It's going to be a mecca.
And a great radio station that's going to be playing plenty of Kiss, a lot of Kiss. So people are going to love that.
Not so much that it makes people sick.
No, not that. We'll throw a little AC/DC and Foo Fighters in there. We'll mix it up a bit.
It'll as with everything else here, the balance is going to be correct. And whether it's the TV shows or the radio station, all aspects of this are being covered in a way that will make everybody proud and really raise the bar. That's what is always interesting in life, is that the bar is always at a certain level, and somebody comes along and raises it, and then there's a new standard. I was going to say a gold standard, and here you're in a place where you're going to be able to see gold melted and stamped into coins, into bars. You've got a state-of-the-art jewelry center where somebody's going to be working on jewelry. You've got guitars. It's revolutionary. And
Thank you.
It's terrific.
Well, coming from you, honestly, that means a lot. We've been working on this project a long time. I got a hell of a team here who's been putting this all together, and to bring you out here and see, it's my pleasure. And here we are, almost open, 89 days away from opening. Thanksgiving Day, 9 a.m., Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the home of guns, gold, and rock and roll. It's going to be Badlands Pawn Gold and Jewelry, and I'm Chuck Brennan. I thought up this whole mess. I think you said either I'm a genius or I got a screw loose. So let's hope it's the first one of the two. And thank you so much, Paul Stanley, for coming in and
Pleasure.
checking it all out. Take care, everybody.
Knock on wood.